Auckland's mayor wants tighter speed restrictions for e-scooters on footpaths. Last week, Phil Goff requested urgent advice around how to improve e-scooter safety after ACC received 66 claims in just 2.5 weeks. The urgent memo sent to councillors urged them not to crack down or regulate the scooters, but instead roll out an education campaign around safety. But as the city prepares for another 1,000 scooters to be rolled out this weekend, Mr Goff told me he'll be speaking to Auckland Transport about possible changes to the bylaw to cap speeds at 10 kilometres an hour on the city footpaths.
Look, the very first thing to do, and Auckland Transport and Auckland Council are commencing it today, is to start a safety awareness campaign, an education campaign, which is one step, but again, not enough in itself. But just to highlight the fact that these things aren't toys. Anything that can travel at 25 k's an hour is a vehicle, and does put people at risk, both those riding them and those that they might come into contact with.
So how are you getting that message out? How are you getting that message out to sort of slow down?
There'll be a number of things. They'll be doing both an online and a poster campaign about things that people need to do when they're riding them, and we need to work, I think, with the rental agencies at the moment, Lime, but also Onzo and Wave that are introducing these hire scooters over the next few weeks. They have a responsibility. They've indicated that they want to work with us.
So do those providers? Sorry to interrupt, but do those providers, are they going to pay for this safety campaign? Are they?
They will be paying for elements of it. Whether we do, we have safety campaigns right across use of cars, bikes, pedestrians, etc. So the city itself has a responsibility in Auckland Transport. So,
but what will the split be? What do you reckon the split will be? Will they pay 50%, 80%?
Oh, look, I don't know. I haven't got into that detail, Lisa. But as I say, we need that sort of campaign. They need to be part of it. We need to be part of that. I also need to talk further with central government. I mean, I'm told that, strictly speaking, you can't ride scooters on cycleways because cycleways are confined to the use of cycles. Now, that's crazy. If you've got something that, like a motorised scooter that can do 25 k's an hour, if you've got a cycleway, it makes much more sense for them to be on the cycleway than on the footpath.
Will that require a law change?
Probably a regulatory change, but I need to have that discussion with the Minister.
And you're going to be pushing for it, though?
Yeah. I also want to take up my belief that if you're travelling on a footpath, 25 k's an hour is not a reasonable speed on a footpath. Maybe 10 k's an hour would be a more reasonable speed on a footpath. So I think that you need to have a regulatory environment that deals with that.
Okay, so a speed limit on the footpath, would that be a bylaw change?
That I'm checking out. My understanding is that may well be a New Zealand Transport Agency change, a regulatory change.
So how long would that take? How long would that take then to slap a speed limit on people zooming along on the footpath?
I think that there are some people that say, look, don't make your decisions prematurely. Let's see how the trial proceeds. Let's have a look at the thing in context. Let's not be too knee-jerk about it. Yeah, I understand that point of view, but I also believe that the injuries are happening now. We don't know yet whether they are disproportionate. I mean, I see ACC figures show that there were 6,000 ACC claims for push scooters last year, which is a bit mind-blowing, really. I wouldn't have thought they were anything like that.
So what is your time frame for this tightening things up?
I think there's a 3-month trial period, and what I'm saying is you don't need to wait to the end of that period to start to consider some sensible changes that might need to be made. Look, we're totally in favour of the scooters. We think it's a great way of getting around. Most people are using them responsibly. As I go out and I look around and I watch them, but not all. I'm equally aware you can't legislate for common sense. And if we did, we'd have a better community in every way for everyone.
Have you been on one of these things? Have you been on one of the scooters?
No, I haven't yet. And probably in the privacy of a side street, I'll have a go. Look, what I'm saying is I'm not against them being used. In fact, I'm quite positive about them. But let's balance the ease of getting around on these things with a sensible framework and the readiness of the police, where people are seen to behave irresponsibly, there are already regulations in place where police could act.
But you're going to get another...
We just need a...
You're getting another 1,000 of these on the weekend, aren't you, from a different provider? So another 1,000 electric scooters going into the mix.
Another 1,500 from both Onzo and Wave, and my understanding is that...
so that's over 2,000. That'll be over 2,000 on the streets of Auckland of these electric scooters.
You're talking about a lot of vehicles that are very popular, and that means that inevitably the accident rate will go up. What I need to understand, Lisa, is get ACC to analyse whether the per capita problem with this form of getting around is much higher than other relative forms of transport. Whether it be
all of this, though, all of that talk of regulation change and checking in with ACC and the Transport Agency and all the rest of it, it sounds time-consuming. It sounds like it will take a while. And as I said, you're getting these extra scooters in this weekend. You're going to have more than 2,000 scooters zipping around Auckland without these provisions in place. Shouldn't you've got it sorted before you gave the thumbs up to the trial?
No, well, there's a whole lot of other things, but you're talking about skateboards and segways, etc., that have no regulatory framework. What's different with the scooters is that they're here in larger numbers. What I'm saying to you quite clearly is there's no reason to delay on an education and awareness campaign. There should be no reason to wait to the end of the trial before you decide that doing any speed on the footpath is okay. Patently, in my opinion, it is not. So there are some things that you can do quickly. There are some things that are common sense to do. What I don't want to look like I'm doing is just a knee-jerk reaction and I will ban them because they're new.
No, but the short version is you are going to crack down. Short version is you are going to crack down, though.
The short version is that we're looking at both an educational campaign and the need to constrain the speed these things can travel on a footpath. Most people, in my view and my observation, are behaving responsibly. Some aren't. And while you can't regulate for common sense, if we have got a framework in place that restricts speed and the police are prepared to respond to incidents where people are clearly behaving irresponsibly, and we have electronic records, I'm presuming, of where these things are going, who's riding them, and maybe even what speed they're doing, then maybe we just need, where people are behaving irresponsibly, to ask the police to be more active in cracking down on those instances.
So you want the police to ticket scooter riders? That's what you're saying?
Where people, I don't care what they're, whether they're on a bike or whether they're on a scooter or whether they're on a skateboard, if they're behaving dangerously and putting other people at risk, yes, I would expect the people in charge of enforcing traffic rules to enforce it for scooters as well.